This is the #1 movement for freedom of the mind and heart. Let's start a conversation. Hello, my darlings. It's been a minute since I've been here, and I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be back, not because I was feeling so in tune to jump on a recording this week, but because I knew it had to come. Sometimes we need to push through the feelings because the feelings are not always the things that we need to listen to. And I just came to the realization before I clicked record. I had a different topic for today, and we're going to save that topic for next week. It's going to be a very beautiful topic. So if you are listening to this right now and are wondering, what would Anna want to share next week? Tune in for next week's episode and you shall see. But for this week, let's talk about feelings and the reason why feelings, most of the time, feelings are liars. And you need to understand the difference between feelings that are intuitive, Holy Spirit leading kind of feelings, and feelings that are keeping you stuck, feelings that are actually chains around your personality, chains around your identity, chains around your purpose. Because we are all here with a purpose, be it big or small. Maybe you're not meant to create a movement to awaken women across the world. Maybe you're meant to take care of your family. Maybe you're meant to be a great spouse. Maybe you're meant to be a loving leader in the school system. Maybe you're meant to do something in your family. It doesn't have to be something grand for you to have a purpose. We all have a purpose in this world. And today we get to talk about how we get to fulfill that purpose by not always listening and following to our emotions, but always being hyper aware of ourselves. And here's what I mean about that. I'm trying to think where I want to take this. Let's go there. We're constantly taught to follow our heart. We're constantly taught to go either with a logical concept of, let's make this logical, or with following our heart, but we're never taught to combine these two. When you combine following your heart with following your mind, you get the blessing of both worlds. When we get the blessing of both worlds, if you're watching me on YouTube, I've traveled for 3 weeks, for the past 3 weeks, through all over US for various purposes. And then we finally got home in Calgary for the season, and my microphone has been very well loved by the cat. So it's full of cat hair. So if you're seeing me picking things off of my microphone, it's because genuinely the cat hairs are tickling my nose. Yes, Lara is a giant furball. My loves, emotions are lying to us. Emotions are lying to us most of the time, especially when we believe that we need to be a certain way. We need to listen to our heart's desire. We don't need to do any of that. I can tell you for a fact, I woke up this morning super sore. My emotions said, you need a rest day. You need to pause everything. You need to relax and not stress about all of these things. And I said, but you're making me feel stuck. Emotions that are making us feel stuck are not emotions that are coming to serve us. They're coming as chains to hold us down. Emotions that are keeping us stuck and stagnant and idle are emotions that are actually meant for us to be our old self, to not step fully into our new identity, to not step fully into who we are meant to be, to not step fully into our purpose, They are meant to hold us stuck, stagnant, and fearful. Because when you're stagnant, you start feeling like fear kind of creeps in. Like fear is going to tell you, you're stuck right now, aren't you? Yes, but you told me to be stuck, to stop. You told me to take a breath. There's nothing wrong with taking a break, taking a breath, pausing. But there is something wrong in trying to pursue rest as a lifestyle. There's something wrong with trying to pursue the feeling of detachment as a way of living. There's nothing wrong in resting. There's a lot wrong in resting when you feel overwhelmed. Resting when you're feeling like, I have so much to do, I'm just going to rest instead. I have so much going on, I'm just going to not deal with it. And there's this emotion that takes over when we are overwhelmed, that feels like a weight on your chest, on your body, and it feels like the heaviest thing you're not able to carry. Have you ever felt like that? Like something is coming up and there are so many moving parts. There are so many innuendos. There are so many uncertainties. There's so much going on. And it makes you feel heavier and heavier and heavier. And you're like, oh, I just don't want to deal with it anymore. I just don't want to breathe like I'm struggling through murky waters, like I'm drowning. I don't want to do it anymore. So I pause. Have you ever paused so much that you don't know how to start again? I literally have so many of my clients right now that are going through something similar. They're new clients, that's why. And when you come into my world, probably 9 times out of 10, I have clients. Most of the time, there are female clients going through some form of idleness, going through some form of heaviness, going through some form of, oh my God, Anna, I have so many ideas, yet I feel so overwhelmed by everything. Where do I start? You don't start by pausing. You don't start by breathing more than you should have. And by breathing, I mean leaving space for too much of a rest time. I'm not saying breathing like stop breathing. When we take, yoga teacher moment. When you take a breath in yoga, you move. But also when you take a breath in yoga, you pause. So sometimes we take the pausing breath too long. And as entrepreneurs, as business owners, there are many things out there because information is so readily available that we're just being bombarded by so much going on. We're bombarded by so many things that when we want to start, changing something, bringing more finances in the business, creating more revenue, bringing more movement for the business itself, we start looking outside instead of checking in with our brilliant mind. And we get overwhelmed by all of this wave of information. The amount of information that's out there hinders our creativity. And that is when emotions become very overstimulated. When we become so overwhelmed by whatever the world has to bring us, it gets so chaotic that we're starting to listen to our quote unquote gut feeling, but that gut feeling is actually telling us, oh my God, I'm so afraid right now because there's so much coming at me. I don't know how to handle this. Of course you don't, because you're looking outside. You're looking outside, not at one voice, at millions and millions of voices saying this and that and this and that, saying you should be doing this, you should take this strategy, you should take this blueprint. If I hear the blueprint, The word blueprint, one more time, even though I love using it myself, but for different reasons. The word blueprint has been driving me crazy for the past months when associated with how to grow your business. A blueprint, a strategy, a blueprint for your strategy, a strategy for your blueprint. It's ridiculous. It's exhausting. And it's something that confuses entrepreneurs, business owners, and women alike, men and women alike, on so many levels. We don't need to listen to all of the voices outside. Our actual nervous system is not created to listen to so many voices. Yes, we can use that to our advantage when we're entrepreneurs to create a type of movement where we're communicating to those voices, but not absorbing all of those voices. We can communicate our message to other voices, but absorbing all of those voices for us without a pause, without a break, becomes so overwhelming that the nervous system shuts down and starts to numb. Have you ever felt in your life so overwhelmed that you just numb and don't do anything? Yep, I was there. I was there, overwhelmed, chaotic, absolutely not even overwhelmed as in, this is overwhelming, I just need to pause from it. Overwhelmed from feeling like I just don't want to live like this anymore. So I stopped everything. But the secret to being your own boss is when you stop everything, your work stops when you don't have systems. So when I stopped, funny enough, before I even knew how to do all of these things that I'm doing now, how to build the identity, how to do everything that I'm doing now, I realized that every time I paused, nothing was working for me anymore. Every time I paused, everything was pausing with me. And it was even more scary than ever before. Now, as you can hear my voice, I woke up this morning and started recording, and it's Calgary. We're back in Calgary and it's really dry. So if you're listening to this, pick up your water bottle and have a sip, because I will too. My loves, emotions are such an interesting animal. And I was reading my Bible this morning, and the phrase, the verse of we are not given a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of sound mind came again to my mind. What if emotions are not just, I feel like I need to do a masterclass on this instead of just giving all of this to you right now. Why I'm saying that, it's not because I want to make money off of this concept. No, but there's a certain type of preparation that I need to do for you guys before I walk you through this. But let's give it like a ballpark explanation. What if the emotions that we have are influenced by certain spirits that influence us, that go through us? Because we are, in fact, 80% water. We are a spirit in this body that is material in this world. But if we're a spirit, we can also feel things. You know how we feel things when we walk into a room, when we listen to a song, when we hear news, whatever. We're being influenced, inspired by certain energies. So what if our emotions are also influenced by certain spirits? See what I mean about, like, I can't actually explain very frugally this concept. But when we're influenced by certain spirits, when we're influenced by the spirit of fear, would you agree that it can create a lot of stagnation and retreat and lack of momentum in your life. When we're influenced by the spirit of fear or the spirit of overwhelm, which is also a spirit, too much energy, too much information, and the phone can do that. The internet is a magnificent tool that can also be a trap, depending on how we use it. It's like a knife. You can cut yourself or you can cut the fruit. It depends on how you use it. When we use the internet in order to get inspired without clearly putting boundaries around how much we use the internet, we're going to feel like it's using us. And it is to a certain degree, because we become consumers, not creators. We become consumers, the ones that absorb instead of the ones that put out. Same for the world. Wherever you walk, if you hold yourself too idle, you become the one that's absorbing more and more of the world, instead of when you are in movement, you get to push out your energy into the world. Have you noticed people that are successful, how they just radiate? My Romanian kicked in there. In Romanian, to radiate, it's said a radia, to radiate. So a radia. It sounded like that. The thing is, when we radiate, when we're successful, we radiate that kind of energy of success, which, what does the energy of success actually feel like? It's joy. We are influenced by the Holy Spirit with the fruits of the Spirit of joy, of love, of presence, of patience, of gratefulness, of thankfulness, of faithfulness, of sound mind. When we're successful, we have all of those things that we get to see in the Bible as the fruits of the Spirit. But when we don't feel successful, when we feel overwhelmed, when we feel numb, when we feel like, oh, it's so crazy, what comes up? Sloth, laziness. We start eating a lot, or we start completely pushing food away. Gluttony. We start becoming prideful. I don't want to do that. I'm too good for that. We start thinking of all sorts of negative things that keep us stuck and stagnant. I'm not good enough. I'm not enough. Unworthiness, where you're not loving yourself as your neighbor. You're not even loving yourself. You're going against God's will for your life, to love and be loved. Not, okay, I just heard that and I felt like an energy coming from the internet saying, yes, see what I mean? We need to accept all of the LGBTQIA plus communities, because love and be loved. I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about genuinely loving another person. That means you tell the truth to another person when they're living in sin, when they're going against what are high values in the world. Respect one another, love one another, feel worth for one another, value one another. We're not talking about sex. Honestly, we have to stop believing that if God said, love yourself as your neighbor, transcribing that to love one another, that love is community. I even read, I got a beautiful Bible from my husband as a gift when we got back here. It's a very old Bible from like 1800s, something like that. And the translation for the word love in that Bible was charity. In that Bible from the 1800s, where it says in Corinthians 1, chapter 13. Yes, I do have a Bible on my desk here, but it is not that one. So, and it's not labeled either. So by the time I find the chapter, it will take a time. It says, love is patient, love is kind. It does not boast, it is not evil. Love never fails. So when we change the word love to charity, which when you think of charity is not just giving money to someone, is how you take care of one another. Charity is patient, charity is kind. It does not boast, it is not prideful, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered. The way you love one another, it speaks volumes. So, circling back to emotions now. When we allow negative emotions to control us, the best thing we can do when we are stuck, when we are stagnant, when we are idle, when we are overwhelmed, especially as entrepreneurs, but everyone can learn from this. We need to move, get out, move, breathe. Breathe as in intentionally breathe. Breathe in movement. Create space in your body. Create space in your mind. Put your phone down. Grab your dog, grab your son, grab your husband, grab your kids, grab a friend, grab your headphones, put some worship music on. Go for a walk. Go breathe. Go see sunlight. The biggest thing, and I know Tony Robbins talks a lot about this and has made a whole brand around it, state is everything. If you don't like how you're feeling right now, you don't have to accept it. You don't have to accept it as your truth, as your whatever. It's not your identity. You can change it. The moment you start realizing that the feelings you're feeling are not the boss of you, you can change them. You can change them. And yes, come at me with it. It's hard. Yes, come at me with it. It's going to be heavy, annoying. I don't want to change it and I'm so exhausted. Yes. Yes, you are. So what? So what? You're going to be exhausted tomorrow too. But if you start moving now, if you start changing now, if you start doing something different for yourself right now, tomorrow's going to look different. But would you agree that if you do nothing and accept your circumstances as your forever truth, that's exactly what you're going to get? I'm letting you breathe through that because it was a lot. Our emotions are not our boss. Our mind can be influenced by our own decisions, and our life can look very different tomorrow than it is today because of what we start choosing differently to do. So I'll leave you with this, my loves. Question for you. What can you do in the next 24 hours? No, that's too long for you. What can you do right now after you close this episode? After the episode ends and Anna says, stay salty and bright. What can you do that will change something about your life? Something small. Do something small. Go out somewhere. Call a friend. Text me. Bitch at me if you want. Say, I can't change Anna. It hurts. It's hard. Come at me. And I will come at you with love because I know how it is. I know how deep and dark that heaviness, that idleness gets. I know how deep and dark and confusing it really feels when everything is going against you. I know how hard and heavy it feels to carry the weight of not having, of lack, of disillusion, of illness, of idleness. I know I was there for so many years. That's why I'm not letting you sit there anymore. Because I was there and it was hard as hell. It was hell. People say, oh, don't say that. It wasn't that bad. Yes, it was. It was insane. It was insanity and it drove me crazy. And now looking back, it was the heaviest stuff I've ever gone through. So because I went through that, I get to sit now here feeling successful, feeling alive, and telling you you're not allowed to stay there. I wished I had someone back then to tell me this. Anna, you're not allowed to stay there anymore. You are not allowed to stay there anymore. You're done with it. Put the idleness down, put the heaviness down, get up, wash your face. Girl, wash your face. Take a deep breath in, drink some water, put some nice clothes on, because the image you create for yourself will be the image that will help you boost your energy and get out of that house, get out of that car, get out of that bed, get out of that heaviness, get out of that hole that you're digging yourself into. Just get out. You'll thank me later. So, my loves, do something right after you close this episode. Tell me about it. Let me know, because I'm really curious. And until next week, my loves, you're fabulous. You got it. You have everything in your tool belt to make it happen. I love you and stay salty and bright. Bye now.